Hey, my friends, Tony back again. I have this thought on my brain that I just can't get off. And that is a quote by Buckminster Fuller. And he shared this, and I may have shared it in another segment before, but I want to share it again because I'm going to share a lot over the next few segments with you about this quote and the power of this quote in your life. He said this. He said, "All children are born geniuses. 9,999 out of every 10,000 are swiftly, inadvertently de-geniusized by adults." And so I want you to know that for me, I was in my 30s before I had come to this thought pattern of, am I a de-geniusized adult? And I was. I want you to know that I was, and I still am to a certain extent, because there are still things that I automatically accept that I haven't rejected yet, that are thwarting me and that have placed limits on my life. And so I've thought a lot about children over these last few days. And I look at my own children and I think to myself, these are geniuses here. I've got a 10-year-old and a 6-year-old right now, and they are geniuses. My 6-year-old is more genius than my 10-year-old. Why? Because he still believes as a child, where my 10-year-old is starting to grow up now and his filters are starting to get formed. And the point is I want my children to never, ever lose their genius that they were born with as kids. And they're inadvertently de-geniusized by a lot of adults, by teachers, by coaches, by mentors, by parents, by aunts and uncles and grandparents, by other adults in their lives. They're de-geniusized. And they're inadvertently. What didn't happen by purpose. Now, I will say that there are people in today's world that their whole focus is de-geniusizing you, to cause fear in you, to where you don't do things. From media to government to other things, there are people that want to hold the masses down and don't want them to think. So over these next few days, over these next few segments, I want you to think. Am I one of the 2% that think in the world? There's another great quote. I heard it by Earl Nightingale. I don't know if it was him that said it, but I'm going to give him credit because I heard him say it on a audio that he was doing. He said this. He said, 2% think. 3% think they think. 95% would rather die than think. And then a separate quote, if people said what they were thinking, they'd be speechless. Why? Because it's repetitive thought. It's generational thought. It's thought that's come down from one generation to the next. It's not original thought. It's not creative thought. And so I want you to think to yourself, are you an original thinker? Do you think thoughts that are just from out there, that you collect and that you say, you speak? That is part of the genius of who you are. So over these next few days, I want you to just take a step back and say, okay, here's some areas I can really focus in on to determine whether or not I've been de-geniusized. And so we're going to start with a few of them, but I really want you to pay attention to them. So I'm going to share with you just a couple of them that we're going to go over. But do you focus on what you want or what you don't want? We'll talk a little bit about that. Are you out there taking risks? Are you willing to fall on your face as you learn how to walk on things? See, kids, they're willing to take risks. Are you believing? Are you quick to forgive? See, there's so many things that I want to share with you. And these are just a couple of them. But I want you to get excited to come back and think to yourself, okay, well, how am I being de-geniusized? So put a comment in here if you feel like, you know what? Yeah, I believe this, Tony. I believe that all children are born geniuses. Just type in, I believe. Because guess what? I believe that all children, you and me, we were born geniuses. And the vast majority, 9,999 out of every 10,000 are swiftly, inadvertently de-geniusized by adults so that they become de-geniusized adults. So let's reclaim that brilliance, reclaim that genius back into our life. Come join me again and we'll explore this topic even more.